This is such a complicated topic to cover because in some ways I am hesitant because I know how this is going to come off to normies who watch my content who aren't really politically interested but just sort of stumble across it because of the title or the people involved. And so I have to be very careful with my wording not to set those people off. So if you're watching this right now and you are one of those normies that's not very politically interested, I'm going to give you guys a bit of a exposition. I am a leftist. I guess you could call me a dirtbag leftist. What this basically means is I believe in the concepts of leftism and worker rights and the rights of minorities, all those things. But I'm also pretty edgy. I like to get into edginess. I like, shitting on people I don't like. I like, making jokes that make people go, ooh, I'm an edgy dude, okay? I'm a gamer. I'm like you, but I'm a leftist. And if you're assuming you aren't a leftist, which you probably aren't if you're a normie just coming on my channel and you aren't politically interested, I'm going to be talking about drama that's currently happening on Twitter right now involving Leafy, Keemstar, and the drama community, the YouTube drama community, of which I've spoken on many times, surrounding it. All right? So a couple days ago, I put out a video on Leafy getting banned from Twitter, or from YouTube. And I talked about how it may not be a good thing. Not that it is or isn't, but that there is a possibility worth considering and perhaps even preparing for that Leafy getting banned will only result in his fan base moving further right or moving to, content creators that may push them in that direction. Leafy was was behaving fucking awfully. But when the alternative, when his fan base is more likely to go after Leafy gets banned, I mean, when you look up Leafy after he got banned, when you would look up Leafy on YouTube, let's go ahead and look it up. When you look it up, you find, I guess h3h3 is here, although kind of disliked. Drama alert. So obviously anybody who's curious about why Leafy got banned, they're going to find Keemstar. The H3 podcast covered it, so that's, nice. Critical's cool. Turkey Tom, who is apparently I've actually received some information since the last time I covered him. Turkey Tom is probably a Nazi, or at least alt-right adjacent. The dude, there's DMs leaked of him talking about the Jews, and he follows a lot of alt-right figures that call themselves white nationalists and neo-Nazis. It's possible. I can't know his beliefs, but just judging by the type of political art, behavior in topics and discussions he gets into, it's possible. So that's unfortunate. Yeah, there's some fucking worse people if you go down the list. The quartering or Crowder. Wait, Crowder talking to the quartering? Oh my fucking god. What a nightmare crossover. Well, yeah, so that's basically what you find when you look up Leafy now after he's gotten banned. So the whole argument of my video was that Leafy, there will probably be more harm caused by Leafy being banned than him staying. It's possible. It's worth considering. But regardless of that, I thought Leafy, honestly, I thought Leafy was just going to go dark, just go silent after getting banned from YouTube. Because my belief, my assumption was that since he had become a millionaire from investing in stocks, presumably, I'm pretty sure he's a millionaire, he didn't need to do YouTube anymore. The only reason he came back was to stir up drama, to cause shit, and be this Joker-like agent of chaos. As cringy as it sounds, that's what I was pretty sure his goal was. Just to push YouTube and all these platforms as hard as possible till he just gets fucking banned. And he did. He pushed it really fucking hard. He was breaking TOS, and he got banned. But for some reason, Leafy's not going away, guys. He's going even harder. He's gone to Twitch. He now streams on Twitch. I can only imagine he will get banned pretty fucking soon. Twitch is way more strict. He's just hosting somebody right now, so I mean, there's no point in watching it. But Leafy is way more strict, or not Leafy. Twitch is way more strict with their TOS than YouTube is. They have actual people running things. It's not just a bot. So it's very possible that those people running things at Twitch, when they see the kind of shit that Leafy does, they're not going to like having him on their platform, and they're going to fucking kick him, It's possible. It happened with a lot of other alt-right YouTubers, the alt-right YouTubers that got banned from YouTube. They went to Twitch and they immediately got banned, so we'll see what happens. But Leafy has also gone to a website that... This is hard for me, guys. I'll admit this is kind of hard for me. StoryFire. Leafy has gone to StoryFire. Hypers, if you know what StoryFire is. Does anybody here know what StoryFire is? Who made it? Where it comes from? A couple people do. StoryFire is a YouTube competitor platform made by a YouTuber named McJuggerNuggets. And I'll admit, I'm a fan of some of McJuggerNuggets' work. Like, I am. I genuinely am. I don't know if you've ever seen the Psycho series. I'm not even kidding you. This is probably, I guess you could call it an ARG, the most well-put-together, well-made, longest, like, ARG, sort of like augmented reality show game type thing that's ever existed. Basically, I'll actually go on to it and see. You've probably seen this video. How many of you guys have seen this video? Psycho Dad Destroys Xbox. It's got 25 million views. This is the first episode of the series. It's basically a video, kids playing Xbox. His dad comes home, doesn't like that he's touching the TV, puts his Xbox in the thing, they freak out, and then he ends up going out and destroying the Xbox in the driveway. Honestly, this whole series was fucking fantastic, and if you haven't seen it yet, you should watch it. Me and my girlfriend are actually binge watching it right now because she hasn't seen it. But he was the one, like Jesse, the guy behind that whole series, it was all scripted, by the way, is the one who made this platform, StoryFire, and honestly, I think it's a pretty nice platform. It is not BitChute. It is not comparable to BitChute. It's actually a pretty reasonable platform. The problem is they're pretty desperate to scoop up like big creators that are no longer on YouTube to bring their audience over, and so they got Leafy, and they've got Keemstar too. And since they have such a lax TOS compared to YouTube, the kind of shit that Leafy's been posting, Leafy and Keemstar and all those people have been posting on StoryFire is basically BitChute light. Because they don't have like the claw of YouTube sort of holding them down. So they're going a bit more mask off with things. And we're not really going to get into Leafy's content here too much, but we are going to talk about his behavior since he got banned from YouTube and since he got on BitChute. Because it's been worse. My prediction was 100% right. He's gotten worse. And his fan base is getting even more fucking extreme. I'm sorry. Everybody who went and like, everybody who disliked my video, because I got a surprising amount of pushback on my video about Leafy getting banned. Everybody who disliked my video about how Leafy getting banned could be a bad thing, you got blown the fuck out. Because events have unfolded, and I was 100% right. I was 100% right on this. So, the kind of shit Leafy's been posting on Twitter and retweeting lately has been a little weird. Someone added him saying YouTube updating their terms of service to this bro, implying this is a bad thing. So the things they updated, and this is bad, is the N-word, simp, I don't know what that is, content nuke, diesel patches, hypocrite, it's a Gundam, pokey is ugly, 2 out of 10, simp, N-word, Gundam, like it's a Gundam, hypocritical, Leafy, Pokimane trash, Pokimane is trash, fuck Pokimane, tier 3, Pokimane sucks, F-slur, Leafy, a video link, content fallout, a video link, Keemstar, criticism X, no idea, or criticism with X is just make go away, a link, has a boyfriend, content fallout. I don't know if this is serious, I don't know what this is, but Leafy retweeted it, so he seems to agree that, these being in the TOS, like this stuff being, you know, you can't say it on YouTube without receiving some pushback from the platform. Oh, it's the Pokey Discord banned word list. Oh, yeah. No, that's completely fucking appropriate. Wait. Okay, if this is... Apparently this is the Pokimane Discord ban list, but this person's saying it's going to be YouTube terms of service? I don't know. So clearly he disagrees with these things being in like TOS on YouTube, which is pretty fucking dumb because most of these are like slurs and stuff like that. But Leafy has been fucking losing his mind on Twitter and on StoryFire, along with Keemstar, since this happened, and now h3h3 has gotten into it. And ironically, h3h3, if you're like a progressive person, as much as you may dislike h3h3 from his previous content behavior, is actually coming out of it looking pretty fucking good from our perspective, but is getting turned on by fucking everybody outside of that, from like the centrist normies to everybody to the right. It's like turning on h3 for it. So basically what ended up happening was... Okay, so Ethan has been going after Leafy and Keemstar for a while now, and even people who don't particularly like Keemstar are being like, h3h3 is hypocritical. h3h3 is just a doddering old man who's now moral F-slurring. That's usually what they call it, over jokes. So let's go ahead and watch this clip from Keemstar and Leafy's discussion on StoryFire. Let's see, and this is Leafy talking about what he did when he went to the protests, the BLM protests. This is him talking about what he did there. So let's go ahead and watch.
So like,
wait a minute, how did you get enough balls to go to the protest? Because like, there was a protest or riot.
I know it's very quiet. You'll have to listen.
I remember you went there.
Well, I'm not that frail, and on top of that, dude, I fucking own guns and shit. Like, I literally went there with a fucking gun in a holster. I don't know if I can say this out loud, but like, I don't have a concealed weapons permit, but I don't really give a shit, dude. I have a gun, I have a holster, you know, I come from fucking Utah, my family has guns, right? So like, yeah, I just showed up with that shit and like underneath my jacket.
That was crazy that night. I really thought something bad was going to happen to you because you were showing videos of like helicopters above you and shit, cops everywhere.
Bro, I wasn't on the front lines or whatever, but I did see a police car on fire. Like, that's the most shit I saw, right? I mean, in truth, I don't know if this can even go on StoryFire, but I just want one day in my life for someone to give me an excuse to shoot them. Is that an extreme opinion? Probably. Bro, that was a late laugh, dude. People are gonna think I'm like George fucking Zimmerman or something. That was a joke, bro. Kind of. Bro,
and we'll see you next week. Make sure you subscribe for more.
He said, to be fair, he does say he's joking, but he says kind of at the end. I'm gonna make a pretty strong stance here and say, I don't think he's joking. I genuinely get the vibe from Leafy that he is the kind of dude who owns a gun and just wants to kill somebody, but like wouldn't like go out and just kill somebody like for no reason. He's like looking for an excuse for it, which is like pretty fucked up. Like, oh yeah, somebody just give me an excuse to fucking pop him in the head, you know? Like, that's pretty fucked up if we're being completely honest. Even if he did say he was joking, kind of, like, let's be real here, that is pretty fucked up. And he did admit that he went to the protests with a concealed firearm. I don't know if he has a permit. I don't know if he... I don't think wherever he... I think he lives in Utah, or he's from... I don't know where he lives now. But regardless, it seems like he said this to be a provocateur, and if he actually did do it, pretty big sign that he's fucking unhinged. That's a pretty unhinged fucking thing to do. And... he's talking, you know, chatting it up with Keemstar, who is a fucking Nazi. And, you know, Ethan Klein, aka h3h3, is you know, going after them. And Leafy's been doing a bunch of other shit, and I can get all into the other shit that Leafy's been doing on Twitter and on StoryFire, YouTube, Twitch, all those things. But we're not really going to get into that because it's unimportant for this entire discussion. I feel like I've gotten the weight of the kind of stuff Leafy's been doing since he got banned, how he's just been going super fucking hard. Let's talk about h3h3. I'm going to guess that a lot of you guys probably don't like h3h3. Or at some point, if you're a leftist, really didn't like him. Because to be completely honest, Ethan from h3h3, while being probably a pretty socially progressive person, does have is responsible for a significant amount of like the old anti-SJW shit. He definitely jumped on that bandwagon. He definitely did the whole like, oh yeah, crazy feminist, blah blah blah. And to be fair, most of the videos that he covered were really fucking dumb, like pop feminist, liberal, identity politics type stuff. But regardless of that, he still was pushing and promoting that mindset in a time where, the whole like anti-SJW skeptic community was sort of getting really big. But honestly, as of late, h3h3 has been really fucking based. I don't know if you guys haven't noticed, but it's fucking crazy. H3 podcast Hassan. You guys know they had Hassan Piker on the H3 podcast a week ago, right? Ooh, got kind of dislike bomb, but regardless, they had Hassan on there to talk about like leftist concepts. And they had him on there to defend his like America deserved 9/11 thing. And, he was able to absolve himself of a lot of the bullshit that goes around surrounding that. For those of you guys that don't know, when covering this dude, or when responding to this dude, Dan Crenshaw, who is a fucking war criminal, he basically said something along the lines of, dude, America deserved 9/11. Now, very fucking poorly worded, but the point that he was getting at, if you look past his terrible wording there, was that the behaviors and the foreign policy that America has engaged in is what caused 9/11. We funded, back in the 80s, we funded the militias in the Middle East that ended up becoming Al-Qaeda, which then went on to, do 9/11, unless you're a fucking conspiracy theorist that think it was George Bush. And then we went to war with the wrong country. We went to war with a country that had nothing to do with it, or little to nothing to do with it. Yeah, the Mujahideen. The Mujahideen were a militia group in Afghanistan that were fighting the Soviets in the Middle East at the time, and we basically funded them and gave them weapons so we could engage in a proxy war with the Soviet Union without actually having to send our own soldiers. And the Mujahideen many of them ended up becoming, I believe, I may be wrong on this, I don't know my history too well, like what ended up being Al-Qaeda, right? And those weapons ended up getting funneled to Al-Qaeda. So that's basically the argument he was making. It's a very complicated discussion about politics and history that he worded terribly, and a bunch of fucking normies like took it, and like Fox News and everything took it. But yeah, unimportant. Regardless, though, you pretty much got the history of it. That's good. I'm glad I know my U.S. history at least a little bit. But yeah, that's what he meant when he said America deserved 9/11. And he actually, just a week ago, had Hassan on the show, which was pretty fucking good. Exposed Hassan to a bunch of pretty normie viewers, I would imagine. And I'm just going to give us a minute to let that soak in. I would not be surprised if within the month we get Vosh on the H3 podcast. That is fucking phenomenal for Breadtube, or like leftist YouTube, whatever the fuck you want to call it nowadays. This is phenomenal. And very clearly a sign that h3h3 is that h3h3 Ethan is getting into some fucking more lefty politics, and he's been pretty based lately, if we're being completely honest. He raged against reactionaries on Twitter a couple months ago because they kept saying that the BLM protests are the reason for the coronavirus, the uptick in coronavirus cases, which is just not backed up in any way. And he went hard against people claiming that. And he also came out very, very strongly in support of BLM. So he's been pretty based lately. Honestly, it's pretty nice. However, in response to this, a significant amount of the normies and right-wingers and reactionary types have been railing against him. Really quickly, my webcam's like lagging. I don't know what's going on with my webcam. I feel like the frame rate is like way lower than it's supposed to be. Regardless, though, H3 has been getting fucking based, okay? And I'm not complaining. I don't think any of us should be pushing back on that. But the general fucking middle line people have been. Do you guys remember when people used to suck off people like h3h3 and iDubbbz? I remember vividly there was this really big popular YouTuber saying something along the lines of nobody could ever cancel or shame iDubbbz because the things he has no shame. The things that he subjects himself to in his normal videos, like shaving his head, eating vomit cake, scrounging through a sewer half naked, eating popcorn, like the kind of shit that he's done is just so ridiculously edgy and shameless that he cannot be like nobody can get to him, right? And people would say this about him all the time. And then he came out in support of his girlfriend having an OnlyFans. And that was what did it. That was what did it. Now, he's still doing just fine, but holy fuck, is there a very different outlook on iDubbbz now. When these spaces used to look at iDubbbz like a god, nowadays he's like a controversial figure in like edgelord spaces now. Like, pretty fucking crazy, am I right? How quick people switched over? And it's because his audience thought of him as somebody who he wasn't. They thought of him as somebody who was this like ultra edgelord, like fuck those fucking thoughts and shit like that. Super edgy, and he's still edgy as fuck. That doesn't matter though. He betrayed their trust in that he was as much of a shithead as they are. That was what he did wrong. I don't think he did anything wrong, but you know what I mean. And that's why he's gotten a ton of fucking hate for it. And the same thing's happening to h3h3. People, now granted, h3h3 wasn't looked at as much of a deity. He wasn't deified as much as iDubbbz and, Filthy Frank and Maximofo were. But regardless of that, h3 was looked at very, very positively. But now, he's getting a lot of shit. And he's become a very controversial figure in these circles for him going after Keemstar. For him apparently being a hypocrite because he used to say the N-word a few years ago, but now he's like not all on board with that. Changing your mind about things and improving as a person and getting more mature is being a hypocrite, I guess. He's been getting a lot of shit for it. As a matter of fact, we'll probably be covering this video next politics stream. Even like far-right legit Nazis have been jumping on the bandwagon and bringing over some disaffected h3h3 viewers. They've been bringing them over with like the hate on these like lefty Twitch streamers and all of that. And like this current drama that's going on. Our old friend, one of the first people I ever covered on my channel, and pretty fucking unapologetic Nazi, Brittany Venti, who was banned from Twitch because she did an African cooking show in which she spent like 20 minutes or something, like in the making clicking noises and making like mud patties in like the dirt and the mud. She did like an African cooking show, and she got banned from Twitch for that. So yeah, these are the kind of people that are getting overwhelming support. Bring these people over. Hasbin Gold defends his Queen Pokimane. God, I fucking hate these people. It's so oh god. The words simp and white knight have been ruined. They've been utterly fucking... They've just... The definitions of these words have been fucking destroyed by white people. Anyway, yeah, so she just went after Hassan recently, so that's, predictable. Anyway, my issue is that we're seeing, after Leafy getting banned, this, like, middle-of-the-line edgelord community is now getting pulled further right because Leafy, for one, is being even more fucking crazy, and the people defending Leafy from the ban, as well as the people condemning those that have condemned Leafy, are further right. I said back when I covered the drama community that I think that the drama, like YouTube drama community, will be the next like big segment of the alt-right pipeline, or at least like the beginning of it. And it's happening. This is starting to get on the scale of Gamergate. I used to say, I've said it for months, there's going to be a Gamergate 2, and it's going to be Streamergate. And this is what's happening. Debate Vosh on Leafy being banned bad. So the problem is, Lone Cap, my opinion on it isn't strong enough that I would even want to debate it with Vosh, because I think Vosh would just like say, oh yeah, I see your perspective on that, because like my reasoning is very, very, very like nuanced. My reasoning is, on its own, it's probably good when somebody like Leafy gets banned for doing the kind of shit that he was doing. But the problem is, when it's somebody like Leafy who has so much mainstream normie support, it's going to result in the far-right people who take advantage of his deplatforming to bring his audience over to the right. He would completely understand my perspective there. I'm not even saying that it's worse that he got banned. All I'm saying is that it's worth considering. But it seems like the events that have been happening recently have proven my concerns correct. So yeah, that's basically it. It's fucking crazy. Leafy's lost his mind as of late. I think he also posted a picture of a gun. It's like an old, like, Luger or something. Luger? I don't know. It's like an old antique gun that probably doesn't even fire. But he posted that on Twitter, like doing a don't come to school tomorrow type thing. Which is, I mean, obviously that's not the gun he would use to shoot somebody if he was actually going to do it. It was like a Winchester or something. I don't know. It was like an antique gun that probably doesn't even fire anymore unless it's very well taken care of. So yeah, I don't know. A Luger, I don't know how it's pronounced. Fuck off. But yeah, so dude's been acting fucking crazy. Far-right people are taking advantage of his deplatforming to push their agenda onto his normie audience, the ones that aren't exactly, like, right. And, yeah, it's fucking insane. That's basically it.